Today we are talking, this is actually a two-part video. The first part we're going to be talking about Avengers Annual 7. Now, what's so special about this that we would pick this particular comic book? Well, everybody knows the Infinity Gauntlet. You know, you've seen it in the movies, and maybe even some of you picked up the trade paperback and kind of figured that the Infinity Stones kind of started there. Well, not so fast, folks. There is a much deeper story about Thanos' lust to serve death. And it started back in earlier issues of Warlock. But this particular issue is the first time that he really tries to mess with the stones. The thing that's so unique about this is how this particular book transitions to almost like 10 years later, or I think it was like 8 years later, that they do the Infinity Gauntlet. And Jim Starlin, who is a complete, doesn't get enough credit for the whole Thanos, who he basically created anyways, but Thanos, Warlock, and his space operas and how they play out. This is a very interesting tale because it tells the tale of Thanos' first encounter with the Infinity Gems and not knowing what they are. A matter of fact, he makes a comment in Thanos' quest onto this particular moment that he tried to use the stones much like a hammer instead of a surgical tool that to which they were made. Once he stands in front of the Infinity Well and understands the concept of what these stones are. So this story really tells a lot. So let's kind of go over this. This is a two-part. We're going to cover Avengers Annual 7 here. The second part of this is concluded in Marvel 2-in-1 Annual 2. This was a summer event that was just absolutely fantastic. And it was a 2-issue masterpiece, at sometimes feeling rushed and squeezed into 2 issues, where you probably could have got 4 or 5 issues out of this, but still, nonetheless, a complete masterpiece. Let's take a look at some of these pages and talk a little bit about this and why you should read this. Now, this fantastic story starts off with Adam Warlock, basically upon a planet where there are runes, as he searches out for Thanos. What he finds is Gamora in her last and dying breaths, and informing the former ally. Believe it or not, they worked together, and Adam Warlock actually thought of Thanos as a friend. But what had happened is Gamora had discovered his once again mad and genocidal tendency to serve death, and has siphoned off the energy of all the Infinity gems. They were gems, not stones. So this now leads into once he found out that she knew, he decided to kill her, his most faithful assassin of all. Meanwhile, Thanos has gone on a mad rage and has siphoned the power of all the Infinity Stones, or gems. At the point it was gems, like I said, and has created a synthetic gem in which he was using the power to snuff out stars. And his mission was to snuff out all the stars in the universe and to wipe out civilizations in honor of death. Once he wiped one of the stars out, Moondragon, one of the Avengers, had felt that there was something eerily wrong. And of course, Adam Warlock, realizing that this was a danger beyond his means, decided to go and try to recruit the Avengers and tell the story of how he recruited these, gotten the power to siphon and make this synthetic gem. Once he explains it, of course, coming through the window was kind of iconic because Thor sees him, and the last time Thor had seen Adam Warlock, it was when he was him once he was released from the cocoon many, many moons ago, and quite a few stories afterwards. Recruiting the Avengers, they head off for Sanctuary 2, which is Thanos' ship. And of course, Thanos has recruited an incredible crew. And as they enter the ship, they try to stop Thanos from destroying any further stars. Of course, unfortunately, they are outnumbered and outbested by Thanos, which leads to a fantastic confrontation between Adam Warlock and Thanos. They come face to face, and very quickly Thanos disposes and actually kills Adam Warlock, remarkably finding it too easy, since he had increased his powers as much as possible. And what ensued after that is probably one of the most iconic and telling things of Adam Warlock, how his whole existence he believed to be a failure. And one of the things that Adam Warlock would do, being the possessor of the soul gem, would take souls and send them to another place. Well, the soul gem itself decides to envision himself, and he talks with himself and saying how his life was nothing but a total failure. And in his last dying words, the soul gem takes Adam Warlock within the soul gem. After this, there is a really interesting battle between Thanos and Iron Man. Iron Man destroys the synthetic gem, and then Thanos teleports away to fight another day. We then shift to the scene where we see Adam Warlock within the soul gem, finally at peace and met with all his old friends and enemies alike that have been claimed by the soul gem. And we get our part here where there is some unfinished business, and we will be leading into Marvel 2-in-1 Annual 2. So let's go up top and get my final thoughts on this fantastic Avengers Annual. So there you go, folks. A really unique ending. The one thing about this story I always find that kind of makes me scratch my head is it seems like it was rushed. It needed to be a 4-issue type of story, because there was a lot of background as far as him being able to siphon off the gems and then create this synthetic gem. The way Warlock died quickly, it just felt a little pushed, but it's a fantastic story, and it really leads into this Marvel 2-in-1 Annual 2, which we are going to cover in 2 weeks, and we'll, I want to move this up to a weekly thing. We're going to give it a little time to marinate, see if the views pick up. We're not going to quit on it. It's just going to be every other week until we can really get the views that I think, or if it doesn't, maybe eventually do it once a month or something. But it's something new and something that I'm really enjoying doing. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Part 2, boy, the story really takes off and really takes some twists and turns. And you could see even, when we're going to come to it, where Jim Starlin kind of had these 2 stories and said, okay, all right, this is good, but I want to take it somewhere else. And that's where you're going to get the Infinity Gauntlet and Thanos Quest, which really just kind of brings all this and ties it all together and really makes it very, very interesting. So until the next time we see you on Comic Book Saturday, it is your old pal Rob. Next issue will be Marvel 2-in-1 Annual 2, the second part of this Infinity type of saga. The very first Infinity Saga, where Thanos learns a little bit about the stones, but eventually learns what the true meaning of the stones are. All right, until next time, it's your old pal Rob.